Welcome to Nice Ashes. I'm Nate.
And I'm Mike. What are we smoking today, Nate?
So I know Mike had this grandiose plan for season 3 where we would only smoke very budget sticks. But the problem is that I don't like following rules, as we've established from our very first meeting with one another. And last year, a year ago now, I was advertised to. And gosh darn it, if the advertisements didn't work. So I ran out and got these limited edition cigars from Alec Bradley. This is a Shamrock Filthy Hooligan, and it's a tri-leaf wrapper cigar that looks fantastic. Check the episode image for a picture of it. But these are limited edition, and they came out last year, so 2023 around St. Patty's Day. And we're a little bit late now, but we're still going to smoke these this year and talk about them because they've been sitting in our humidors for a year. And we've been looking at them and like, boy, oh boy, we can't wait.
Right. And I'm assuming that this episode is going to come out just before St. Patty's Day.
It'll be just after.
Oh, it's just after. Okay. So these cigars will probably still be at your local cigar shop if it's just after.
Yeah, it's a chance, yeah.
Yeah, because I've been looking forward to this. This is tremendous. Incredible shelf appeal. Even the cap, because they have a swirl pattern with a natural green leaf, Connecticut, and a Maduro, and the cap even has the tri-coloring into it. Mine had a green cap, but then it had a Maduro on the edges. It was really nice.
Yes.
Great shelf appeal. If I saw this at a cigar shop, I don't think anything could stop me from buying it, assuming that it wasn't like $100 or something. Like, I'm pretty sure I would just impulse buy it.
It wasn't $100, but hopefully it'll be well worth the money we spent. This is more than we normally spend on sticks for our show. But like I said, the pictures of these showed up in my email inbox, and I was like, holy cow, those look fantastic. And then it said limited edition. And, you know, the only other thing that would have got me out of the door faster pre-Kathleen Kennedy days would be limited edition Star Wars, you know, whatever. But now we all know how that goes. So let's light this thing up, and then we'll talk about what we talk about, Mike.
Absolutely. All righty.
All right, we're lit. We're going to do first thoughts in just a second, but I wanted to put out an ask for any of you listening to us. If you listen to us, whatever platform you listen to us on, if you have a moment and you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. But if you have an extra moment, if you wanted to write a review for our show on whichever platform it is you listen to us, that would help us get a little bit more visibility with the algorithms and things like that. If not, no big deal. Not asking you to make stuff up and say we're the greatest thing ever. Just something truthful would be nice. But yeah, first thoughts, Mike.
It's got that acetone flavor that cigars have occasionally.
It does.
It could be good or bad.
The first couple puffs, yeah. You know, and usually that burns off in the first half inch, quarter to half inch, maybe. Not an overwhelming start for something with an overwhelming. There are deeper undernotes, but it's not an overwhelming start. There's been some cigars we've smoked and they've been just kind of wow from the first puff. But I'm willing to wait on this one and see what it brings.
Yeah, like I say, this has got to be the nicest looking cigar I've ever seen. It's tremendous, truly.
Yes.
Beautiful. So,
Mike, we went as a family down to the art museum. Real quick story before we get into our topic, whatever that may be.
Sure.
And we went down to the art museum and we were wandering around and I walked through this gallery and it had a little sign on it that said some images in here might be, you know how they do, like might be upsetting for some people. And so I walked in and it was this, all of these pictures were painted by a Native American who said that he thought all of his paintings kind of like went with songs and things like that. And I didn't really bother to read all the plaques, but it was a lot of like Native Americans being like, they were really kind of cartoony paintings. And there were Native Americans and white people, and the white people had captions above their heads like, I lied to you and I'll lie to you again. And there was one that had like a white man standing behind a Native American woman whose crotch was bleeding. And it was kind of like all of these things. And, you know, like I get it on one hand, but on the other hand, if you would reverse the roles, right, and they were making fun of anybody else or painting pictures like this about anyone else, any other racial group, it would be flat out blatant racism. You know, and some of this stuff was historical, I'm sure. I don't know. It felt kind of weird, but I guess like art's supposed to challenge you, right? In some ways.
Sure. It all depends. It's very in vogue right now to what I would say be racist against white people and to negate any facts that are not supporting the idea that the white man is responsible for all the evil in the whole world.
Yeah. Well, and you've seen those memes online, right, where people will ask like the AI programs to tell them a joke about white people, and it will tell them a joke, and then they say, "Tell me a joke about black people," and the AI comes back and says, "I'm sorry, that would violate my terms," or whatever.
Yes. That doesn't surprise me. We're going to talk about that in the episode because...
we are.
Yeah, we are. So today we're going to talk about AI. It's a hot topic. It will be a hot topic for the rest of our lives. Maybe we'll make a prediction or two. So let's get into it. I am the one that did the research.
Do it, Mike.
So we're going to start off with what AI is because there's a lot of confusion.
Yeah, there's
Modern
an awful lot of
AI
confusion.
Level. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mike. For our listeners who have not had any interaction with AI, I fought kind of embracing AI because I've seen Terminator. But
Yes.
Our show utilizes AI in a couple different ways. Our content is not generated by AI. That's all Mike and myself. But the audio transcripts, if you're a podcast transcript person, that's all generated by AI. And I've been utilizing a transcript AI tool that will summarize episodes, so I can put that in the description, and it gives me the keywords, the tags, the hashtags. So we're using it on the show to a limited extent, right? We're not using it to generate content. We're not doing any of that. It's just basically a nice way to summarize or to convert our audio to text that we can summarize and things. So I mean, I just wanted to kind of like level set because some people think AI and they're thinking, oh, they made a whole movie with AI, or they made all these fake images with AI, or they did all this crazy stuff. They're rewriting books with AI. They're, and it's like, well, you can also use it for just a tool, like a computer before, and before that, the typewriter, and then the calligraphy pen and slate and stone or whatever. So, but go ahead, Mike, the modern AI.
Right. All right. So there's confusion about what AI is because they're selling it as like a thinking machine, and it is not. What AI programs currently do is they analyze data by finding patterns in the data set they're provided with. And the pattern that they find is what would be called like focused by a prompt. So you prompt the AI or the algorithm.
Yeah, you're initiating a
uses
query.
Its data.
Yeah.
Yes. And so what makes it intelligent AI is that it can use its previous searches and feedback from those searches to refine future searches. So now we're on like 10 years of this AI that's been corrected and corrected and corrected and corrected by human input. And it's becoming accurate for the first time, like truly accurate. And it's only because it's got so much input.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I would equivocate. That's right. That's the right saying, wording.
Equivocate, I think, is what you meant. That's all right.
Equivocate.
I don't know.
I guess I would say that like Chat GPT. Let's just say that. I've got that one on my phone. I've used it to kind of like rework some of the sections on my resume to help me write cover letters and things like that, where AI is different than, say, a Google search. Because when Google first came out, learning how to use the search box drastically dictated what success you had with Google. And the same thing with AI. You have to have a good prompt. But the thing that differentiates AI between like a Google search box is in Google, you would type in, black socks. And then if you wanted to look for black men's socks, you would have to type in black men's socks. Whereas if you're using AI, you could say, show me black socks, and it would say, okay. And then you could just type in and say, no, I wanted men's socks. And it would show you men's black socks because it would remember your previous input from before. So it's kind of like, to an extent, to simplify it down, it's like an advanced search box almost, except this is where things get a little dicey. I'm sure Mike will talk about this a little bit, but it can generate responses that aren't just hyperlinks or product images, right? It can generate emails. It can generate,
that comes
paragraphs.
From being able to use previous search queries. So it's not just using yours, it's using everybody's. So when you ask an AI generator that focuses on images to create an image of Freud based on somebody's style mixed with somebody else's style, it's already done Freud. It's already done the one artist style. It's already done the other artist style. So it can blend it together because it has many years history of having done this before. So the earlier versions were pretty archaic. It couldn't really do it. But by being corrected and added to and interacted with, it adds to its own ability to search and to combine. And that's a pretty powerful tool, and it's going to get more powerful as time goes on. It's only going to get more accurate. So I think about it. Yeah. Like we're already experiencing it with all the social media platforms. There's no moderator human being on social media. It's all AI. They're finding search queries or terms or phrases and doing a meta-analysis and then banning people based on that. There's no human being that's involved with it. And they're analyzing like video on YouTube and everything else. So
yeah. And I know even like Google is using AI in their search box or integrating that into their search box to be more relevant.
Multiple platforms are using AI to generate quick responses to answers or to quick responses to questions.
Yeah.
So I searched up something about a foot issue and it gave me the answer right there. Like, it's most likely this. You can fix it with this. You know, it's pretty handy, and that's not a specialized chat box. So the real question, and this is the long-term repercussion.
Yeah, you didn't go to Dr. AI. You just went to the standard AI box, right?
Yeah, I went to the standard AI box. I didn't go to like, not even WebMD, but like, you know what I mean? I didn't use a specific chat box. So there will be.
It would be so easy to program WebMD's AI because all you have to tell it is whatever they ask, tell them they have cancer.
Right. So
that's a joke because like usually when you search things on Google, WebMD comes up
with, the worst thing ever. This is, we're going to talk about that too.
It could be a headache or it could be cancer.
Right now, today in 2024, there's been a chat box that's passed the bar exam in California. Right now, in 2024, the best chess and Go player on the planet is an AI. Yep. I've done some research, and as of today, there is no reason to have a doctor, an accountant, a pharmacist, a data analyst, any sort of secretarial work. None of those people should have jobs today. Like, we are capable of creating a chatbot that has every medical case that's ever existed anywhere, that you could download the app on your phone that's provided by your insurance company, and it could give you the answer to your question as long as you put accurate data into it. It's just a matter of you having your own blood pressure cuff and giving it the answers, right? Like, there is really no reason to go to a general practitioner doctor.
Yeah. And if you paired it with, say, an Apple Watch or a Fitbit that measure, say, your heart rate and other things, like some of those measure your sleep patterns and stuff if you wear them. So
right.
And with your phone's camera, you know, it could see things quicker, faster, and diagnose things with more speed and accuracy than a human could, because I know I've been trying to implement some stuff in my professional life, and I was told that, and this was just for optical character recognition, but I was told that that has about a 91% accuracy rate, and I have to believe like humans inputting data is way, way less than that, 40, 50% maybe. So I don't see why you, like, at least the very first line of defense wouldn't be AI.
Absolutely.
For some of these things. Like,
the progression has been really fast. So I did some background research. In 2015, Google AI had a kerfuffle because it was labeling pictures of black people as gorillas and things like that. Do you remember that happening?
I remember that happening.
Yes. So
I do.
What they did,
then that's like the machine learning algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Was being incorrect. Basically, it needed more training.
And so what they did is it needed that interaction to be told no so it could learn. So what they did is they just blocked the answer gorilla from ever coming out. It would just say, don't know, you tell me, right? And that's how they fixed it. And now it doesn't do that anymore. So these are dumb computers. Yep. So in 2020, the same AI bot would have difficulties telling if it was a dog or a wolf or a cow, depending on the background. And it would automatically assume that a black hand holding something was a gun, stuff like that. And they got in heat for that too. But it did advance.
To be fair to, not that I should, but to be fair to Google, or to be fair to AI algorithms and programs and things like that, they feed these programs from the internet. And I don't know if many of you have ventured onto the internet lately, but there are large swaths of the internet that are very, very racist and very not politically correct. And, you know, whatever you like is what you like. But, you know, these things are trained on mass data. They have access to the internet. They can look things up themselves, or, you know, the algorithms can, and reference other things. So depending on what they were fed, you know, if some racist person makes 100 posts and Mike makes one post and they're only shown those two posts, the AI is going to think that all humans post racist things, you know, 99 times or 99% of the time, which is not necessarily a true thing. And that's why they need that training, right, Mike?
Right. They need the training. And then where like the sinister part of this comes in, is that you can heavily influence the output of the AI based on two things, which is the data set. So if you remove data from the data set, it'll never come up with new data. It can't generate something new. It can only combine things that already exist. And then two is if you put in the algorithm that it cannot answer X, it'll never give that answer, even if it's correct. So you can block it from saying the true thing if you don't want it to say that. And that's not serious when it's something like black people being gorillas, right? Like that's just polite or whatever.
Well, yeah.
But
I mean,
it
that's
could
ridiculous.
come up with something sinister. We could all imagine something sinister depending on who created it. You know, especially when you're talking about Dr. Bot, who's like, if they say, you know, prescribe opioids times 1.5, it'll come up with opioids as the answer to your problem 1.5 times more than it automatically should. You know what I mean? You'll weight the answer to where you want it to be. And you can minimize the answer to other things, given whatever drug company or insurance company.
Yeah. And if you're in Canada, you'd program it to suggest suicide, doctor-assisted suicide for, what, 70% of the cases or something? Yeah. I mean, those are, I'm just making a joke at some of the things I've seen meme-wise. But, you know, I mean, you could, and it could be doctor. It could be something even like, let's take another favorite movie of mine and maybe Mike's. I don't know if we ever talked about it, but Office Space, where they make a program to shave off fractions of a penny, but he put the decimal in the wrong place. So let's imagine you have the accountant bot and it's doing your taxes for you, but you told it to purposely miscalculate. And then suddenly you've got the entire nation is committing tax fraud or something. So, you know, it could be any number of things, I suppose.
And we're nearly there with Accountant Bot to do taxes because, like, last year I did my taxes with a program and all I did was click yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. That's pretty much what AI is. You're doing a yes/no input, and I haven't done my taxes this year, but I would bet you dollars that I'm going to put in. I have more than just my W-2, unfortunately, so I can't use because there's a free program. If you only have a W-2, that you can literally, the AI is free. Anybody that has more than just a W-2, you have to buy it for like $40 or whatever the hell it is.
Okay.
But this year, I shouldn't have to do any of that yes/no shit. I already have all my answers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's going to change the way things are done. I mean, just think about your local pharmacist. They're supposed to check to see what drugs you're on so that you don't get killed by a prescription. But a computer's already doing that. There's no reason for the pharmacist. You should just be able to go to the vending machine, you know, and have it dispensed out. Like, they are literally a superfluous person.
Yeah.
They're not mixing any drugs for you. It all comes in a bottle.
No, but by and large, not. Every once in a while, they do. I've seen them mix some things, like for our children, like with an ear infection, they mixed, I think it was basically watering it down, you know, to child strength. But I think by and large, pharmacists don't do a whole lot of that anymore, at least at the, you know, Walgreens CVS.
Right.
Or the one inside Walmart or wherever.
Which is where I'm going. Like my parents, they have all their shit delivered to them. Like they already have an AI.
Hold on, Mike. I'm getting a flood of angry emails from pharmacists, and they're calling for the cease and desist thing up. No, I'm just kidding. We're not trying to defend pharmacists. There are certain jobs, like my job, could be automated, and I would be happy as long as they still paid me, right? I mean, that's the big thing, is these are going to take jobs, but then people have to still do something because our society evolved to the point where we have to have a job and money. And
last year, an AI bot passed the bar exam in California, so it could probably pass the bar exam everywhere. So why couldn't the AI bot, you could literally defend yourself if you had the access to the AI lawyer bot, or you could sue somebody with AI lawyer
and you're
bot.
allowed, and you're allowed to be on your phone in the courtroom. But it might be a good opportunity for public defenders.
Why shouldn't you be allowed to use it?
Well, I don't know.
I mean,
but I think that's part of the problem too, Mike. And I saw this when I was working for the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts had just launched an app with the Boy Scout handbook on it, on phones, right? You know, phones, tablets.
Right.
And a lot of the adults were saying, I don't want my kids to be on their phones on a camp out and blah, blah, blah. And I get it. You don't want people, you know, but I'm saying, look, they could be looking at the digital Boy Scout handbook app, you know, and interacting with that and learning things. They could be watching YouTube videos about first aid or how to build a lean-to or whatever. They could be using it for good things. They could be using it for regular teenage things too. Like, I don't know. But that's kind of, we have a societal disconnect between generations.
Yeah, we have to be forward thinking about this. Otherwise, we're going to be Blade Runner, dude. And I don't want to be Blade Runner society with fucking cyborgs killing people and other cyborgs hunting cyborgs and everybody living in like shanties. You know, we have to be forward thinking and become like the Star Wars, Star Trek society, because we're at the verge of that right now. Like, I am not joking.
Yeah.
The more I research
it's exciting
into it,
stuff.
It's going to affect my job. It's going to affect everybody. Everybody's job is going to be affected. And it's going to make my job.
Yeah.
I'm going to be more productive. They can't eliminate, like when they finally eliminate somebody like a plumber or an electrician or a welder, then nobody's going to have a job anymore. You know what I mean? Like, that's the last line of defense, so to speak.
Yeah, so it's a two-pronged process, right, before this actually ends up putting a lot of people out of work. Whatever that means. That sounds like a bad thing. It could be a good thing. Maybe we'll finally go back to that society where we're eating grapes and having naked bath orgies and things like in the Roman times. An AI on a computer is limited to that computer, to that screen, to that device, to wherever the internet is. So an AI right now can't come in and rewire my house. It can't come in and fix the leak in the toilet. So you have to couple that with robotics or something.
Right. Well, the real issue is or the real benefit is you're going to hire the electrician to come in and fix your shit. They're going to have instantaneous access to every rule that is applicable, and they might even be able to have methods available so they can put data in and get out how to do it like instantly. So it's going to lower any electrician's going to have to lower their rates because their specialty is going to be worth less money, and that's, we're going to talk about that too, because
I was going to say it'll make you more efficient, but if you know how to use the tool, like I'm guessing you being a classically trained electrician versus me not being that. If I had Electrobot 2000, let's say, and you had Electrobot 2000, and you plugged in and said, Electrobot 2000, I need to wire this, that, and the other thing, with your specific lingo of how you know how to talk, electrician, right? The industry words. And you would be more efficient with Electrobot 2000 than I would be, because I wouldn't have the right lingo, and it would give me answers that I wouldn't understand, and it would get to a point where I'd be like, explain that, but like I'm stupid. And then it would, dumb it down for me. And I might still be able to do it, but it would still take me longer because I don't have that skill set of generating in my brain the correct prompt for the AI bot. So I think there's still going to be people interacting, but, I can Google better than most people I know and find things that most people I know can't. So it's definitely a skill set that you learn either by training or by being really bored in college when the internet was kind of newish. So
right. Like I had computer classes about how to search on the internet. Like I had lessons about how to use search boxes. So I also can search things and find them that apparently other people have difficulty with. I've never had an issue finding any information on the internet.
I've never had any issue either.
Yeah, ever. So it's always interesting. So I'm going to do a little data analysis for you here, because
you want to do that? Are you about halfway with your stick or no?
I am. Maybe not.
All right, let's do it halfway. I'm just about there. Let's do that before we do your data analysis, I think.
Sure.
The acetone taste was gone by about half an inch in.
Yes.
I don't know. I would call this one a fairly mellow cigar.
I would call it, if I had to describe it, and we're sound so snooty when we describe them, it's dark and it's creamy and very, very smooth.
Yeah, I was thinking like woody, like a little oaky.
Yeah, maybe oaky.
Woody or something.
Yeah, it's very good. It's
very good, yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
It's been consistent. I haven't noticed any kind of changes outside of that first half inch with the acetone. And I've never smoked anything that's had a natural leaf on it, even in part. So this is it's exciting for me.
I think I've had a natural cigar once, like the green leaf cigar, but it's been so long ago that I'm not even sure if I'm remembering it or if if I'm imagining it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not certain that I have.
Yeah. Well, and I correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. And I don't know if you were telling me this or somebody else was telling me this, because now that we have a cigar podcast, I find I'm talking about cigars with other people more often. But somebody was telling me that a green leaf cigar like that, you can smoke it like within the first couple days that it's been rolled, or it has to sit for a while, or else the wrapper will make you sick.
Yes, you can smoke it right away as it's rolled within the first week, and then you have to let it sit in a humidor for about 6 months before you can smoke it. Yeah. Down in Mexico, a lot of the resorts have hand-rolled cigars, things like that. I've never gone to one that had. I've never been to a Mexican resort of any kind.
Oh, me either.
I've never been to a resort.
That might be Nice Ashes season cigars. 4. We'll see.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think I've ever been to a resort.
Yeah, I don't.
I went to Steamboat Bay Resort.
Okay. I mean, I guess I've been to some resorts, but they've been kind of like they've kind of been like the North Woods like places where they're not the all-inclusive Mexican kind of like get drunk and lounge in the pool fests. You know what I mean?
Right. So. Yeah. Long story short is I knew the previous owner of Steamboat Bay. I was friends with their son, and we went I've been there because I knew him. I didn't stay at Steamboat Bay Resort, which is like a fishing resort, with dinghy boats on Leech Lake. So
yeah. Anyway. I figured it was either fishing or bowling related. So
yeah. Always is, right?
Data analysis. Yeah.
So there's some disagreement, and my theory is that they don't want to freak people out. They don't want riots on the street. So the major publications are saying one thing, but then if you look at the actual people who are involved in AI, they're saying a totally different thing. Okay. So according to CBS, a fifth of jobs will be eliminated by 2040, and two-thirds will be economically devalued by AI by 2040.
That's significant, media-wise, right?
Yeah, that's what the mainstream media is telling us. But I found a guy named Ben Gertzel, and he runs a company that is developing AI on purpose. That's the only thing he's doing. And he predicts that by 2030. I don't know how he could develop AI
accidentally.
Right. Well, he's a nerd, and his only job is to do this, and he's in his 50s. So he was part of the original .com system, right?
Yeah. So he's here to chew bubblegum and develop AI, and he's all out of bubblegum.
That's right. Yeah. He predicts that by 2030, 80% of all jobs will be eliminated.
Okay.
And basically any sort of human level analysis will be gone. Like every analysis will be done by a computer.
Yeah.
So he's predicting like massive societal change right around the corner.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a second, Mike, because even the media's, which we knew, or which I assumed when you said the media's analysis, I assumed it was watered down, right? Like it's not the full true story, but even the media's analysis is a pretty big shift, is a pretty big change. 2/3 devalued and whatever percentage you said. You can see I can't keep numbers in my head, so AI should do my analyses for me. But
right.
But even what the media is saying is going to be a big shift. So and what the actuality is going to be an even larger shift. So I wonder, I don't think as our society is currently structured and as our economy is currently structured and as our, country is currently structured, I don't think that that's going to mean good, happy times for that 80% that don't have jobs.
No. I've been following it. It hasn't been on like the television a lot, but it's been around on like alternative media sources. There's been major layoffs in the tech sector for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And IBM in 2023 announced that they are going to eliminate 30% of all positions at the company and replace their research teams with AI. So IBM itself is going to start cutting. And that's the first, obviously tech sector is going to be the first ones to start cutting their people. But it's going to spread.
Yes.
Why would you go bankrupt going to the doctor when in 22, the chatbot was a better doctor than half of the doctors in 2022? So what is it like right now?
Yeah, I'm thinking. So people can go to the doctor bot, but if people don't have jobs, or if they have lower paying jobs, right, or whatever jobs that AI can't do right now, anyway. Even if they charge the same amount that they're charging now for healthcare for that chatbot AI, right? Like they just switch the provider and the insurance pays the rich people who own the chatbot. They won't be able to charge those prices because nobody would be able to use any of them. Or there'd be some kind of like black market human doctors that are offering, like $20 healthcare, and you might see like these black markets pop up around these sectors that have been completely taken over by AI, unless our society and culture changes something drastically about how we interact with all of these different services. And I know in Europe they've done studies where they've actually done trials of a 4-day work week where they just cut a day out and they don't actually make up the extra 8 hours, but they pay them as if they worked that day. And the productivity on the human side has gone way up and happiness has gone way up and the drain on the healthcare has gone way down. So I think maybe AI can be the thing that might finally shake the American corporatist hold on our healthcare and well-being. Maybe. I mean, that's the optimistic view, right?
Well, so the most optimistic view is that we undergo a radical change as a global society and that we more or less eliminate work for money and that people will do jobs that are passion-based jobs only.
Yeah.
So people aren't going to stop farming if they stop being paid. It might even help farming because farmers have a hard time making their farms run because of the profit motive a lot of times. And people want to be farmers, right? We won't not have school teachers. People who are school teachers already work for free, more or less. They don't get paid anything. Basically. They don't get paid enough to pay their own bills. social workers, carpenters, potentially some electricians, some tradesmen, certainly welding. Like, these are things that people want to do and enjoy doing. They're not going to stop doing it just because you stop paying them. That's what they do for fun anyway. And I think that for jobs that have to get done that people don't want to do, the work week will become like 20 hours because people are going to need jobs.
Well,
you're going to have some sort of economy.
Yeah, and it'll have to come. So like the jobs that AI can't do, that people have to do, it will have to become a kind of like a salaried thing. It's not going to be somebody sitting there making sure you're logged in 8 hours a day doing sewer cleanup or something, right? It's going to be you just go and clean it up and then you're done and you still get paid your amount because it's just the consumerist nature. I mean, a lot of the things that we buy are already not created, but like manufactured by robots and like machines, right? They're just right off the assembly line. And then we pay money and then people collect that money and then we get the thing. But if we don't have money coming in, we can't buy the thing. But nobody really wants to work, really. And if we have the economy that we currently have, even plumbers and welders and the people you said who would still work because they enjoy the work aren't really going to keep doing the work if they can't cover their basic needs. At least they have a skill to let them cover the basic needs. But other people, like my job, sales enablement analyst, an AI can do that right now, today, and do it better than I can probably, because they can look at every sales enablement analyst ever. But here's my question, Mike. If what that guy said was true, and 80% of the jobs are going to be obsolete because AI, will we be stuck? Will that be like freezing our society and technological advancements like in amber, like just freezing it right here? Because right now AI, and you just told us, AI can't create original artwork necessarily. It can be prompted to do a mix of styles and things, but AI is not going to sit there on its own and create, I want something that looks like Edward Munch's Scream and Vincent Van Gogh's Starry Night mixed together. It's not going to do that on its own. So the innovation, you're telling me right now, AI can't innovate. It can make things more efficient. It can tell you trends, but it's not really going to tell us like, hey, the next step in AI is this. Or if you want to solve that unsolvable mathematical problem, here's the answer, right? It has to have that input to draw upon, right? Or am I wrong?
Right. Well, some people in AI think that by the 2030 to 2040, possibly AI could be creative because of the number of data transactions that occur. Mm-hmm. Hopefully what we do as a society is do things like free education so that you can get retrained to do something that's still necessary in our world and not go into bankruptcy doing it because your job's going to be eliminated in 10 years again. And we go to a more flowing sort of education-based economy where people just keep on learning new things and do different things with their life. Also, we'll have to go more towards research and development and artistic creation and things like that. Everybody will be in research and development because there's no reason not for them to be in research and development because computers probably will never be able to do creative research. They'll be able to help the creative research, but they won't be the driving force behind it. And that's the sort of world that we're going to have to move towards.
Maybe eventually, like who knows, but even in the fanciful, Star Trek or other maybe more hard sci-fi stories, the AI, they have their ideas and stuff, but it's always kind of sterile and they want uniformity. And humans don't really want that. They want things that are provocative. They want things that generate emotions and things like that. So I don't know. I
don't think that aspect of our society will change. I think it'll change for the better. People want to be in the local acting troupe. I hope. They already do it for nothing. You know what I mean? So imagine how much better your local entertainment will be if there's more people who are able to do entertainment because they're freed up from their bullshit day job. Well,
you can actually have a stage production.
There'll be a lot more drug addicts too.
Well, yeah, hell yeah. I mean, do what you do safely.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, of course it will. But I think, the societal shift then will be, because there's already a huge societal stigma about people who, the hustle culture, right? Like you got to be working, like I wake up and I'm going to get this bread and grind 100, whatever, like Jesus Christ.
A lot of that, in my opinion, is a product of the fact that we no longer have careers. Like The middle class no longer exists. We don't have good careers anymore. We do, but a smaller percentage of people have those good careers. So people have to grind and struggle to make it work, right? You have to do 5 different things to make ends meet.
Yeah.
And AI will eliminate the ability to do that.
Yeah. Instead of saying like, hey, this is like twisted and messed up. There's so many people out there that have all of these great ideas. Talk to anyone, 18 and under, hopefully 16 and under. And they have like all these crazy ideas and crazy like invention ideas and, just a very unique look at things. But then you lose that because that's not how our society is structured right now, and and I'm not saying these were the good times, right? But back in ancient times, you had like Plato and Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, and you had people that actually devoted big chunks of their day or lives to philosophy and kind of thinking about these bigger issues that affected all of humanity, regardless of anything. And we've really drifted away from that. I think, there's not really maybe there are, but there's not really new like, oh, yes, we're going to, here's this philosopher. We have to go see him because he lives in this barrel on the side of the street and he dispenses wisdom and, yada, yada. But maybe we could be more introspective.
There's a possibility that AI will cause more of that because people will have more free time, productive people who are currently productive, who want to stay productive, will have to do something that is not being paid. You know what I mean? So
yeah. But as a society, we'll have to be able to look at people and say, look, they don't have a job or they don't work as much as Mr. grinding on LinkedIn from 4 a.m. till 10 at night, and we won't be able to say, well, they're lazy, because people look at homeless people and they say they're lazy, they won't get a job, as if jobs are just there to be handed out like candy, So I think there's going to be some shifts that are going to have to happen within the societal mindset, cultural mindset towards.
Well, we're going to have to build public housing that is not dangerous. We're going to have to possibly get way more police officers and have them work fewer hours. But in a society where we don't have job competition from other careers, you might get people who want to be police officers for 20 hours a week, and then do training for whatever. And then you wouldn't have as much burnout amongst those professions. I think that...
Yeah, I'm all for working less time. I mean, people weren't...
We'll have to.
I don't think people are here. I don't think people are here to work.
Mm-hmm. That's not what the rich people say.
Obviously, I know. Because they're making money every time you work. The boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I shit on company time.
Right.
But people aren't here. I'm not here. Basically, my job is like a glorified call center, except I don't have to talk to anybody on the phone, but I'm answering like help tickets and things, right? And that's all that I do. And when I ask my boss, like, look, man, I'm just a call center employee. And they're like, no, you're not. You do this and that and the other thing. I'm like, no, I'm basically a call center and AI could do this and anybody could do this. But what AI might not be able to do is interact with the people in a way, right? And I think about this mostly with the doctor bot, right? The doctor bot's going to come in and be like, you got cancer, you got 4 months. Whereas a human would deliver that news differently or more humanely, I guess. I suppose you could train AI, but until we get used to talking to robots and things, it's going to be weird. But there's something about that human connection, and that's where the art and stuff, like writing and filmmaking and music and all that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, I want to be optimistic about it. I do.
Disney announced that they're moving their animation studio to Canada. And there's 2 reasons. One, they can use AI there legally. There's no barrier to using AI, so they can eliminate employees. Yeah. And 2, there's no law that says they can't be discriminatory in their hiring practices, which currently they got exposed as potentially having illegal hiring practices. Yeah, I saw that. Yes.
Yeah.
Allegedly, they have been using illegal hiring practices, and they could be prosecuted for it. So they're moving out of country so that they can do what they want without any consequences. And that's just going to continue to happen. That's the trend, right? So, and then it'll be a matter of whether we as individuals want to consume that product and punish them with our dollar,
Yeah, which they own so many other companies. I didn't know this until I think 5 years ago that Disney owns Touchstone. That's Disney's adult film. I don't want to say adult film like raunchy, hardcore pornography, but anything that's PG-13 and above goes to Touchstone.
Yeah, didn't they buy Miramax
Disney owns
too?
It. They own almost everything.
Yeah, it's like WB and Disney own damn near everything. other than independent film.
And we talked about this. Like, we can't vote with our dollar because even if we do, it's still going to them somehow because they own everything. But that's what I mean. Like, the optimist in me is AI is going to take a lot of these mundane things that people just don't like doing that aren't rewarding. You know, like me answering help cases on an internet queue is not rewarding. Sure, I'm helping the salespeople do their job and close deals, but if I'm able to help them or not, it doesn't really have a bearing on my life or my income or my lifestyle or anything like that. And so, of course, AI should do that. Of course it should.
In the future, I truly believe the only jobs that'll be left are jobs that people want to do. Now, this might not happen in our lifetime. We'll probably live in a hellscape. But long term, right?
As if we haven't been already, Mike.
To an extent, I mean, we've lived through 3 economic depressions.
A 20-year war.
A 20-year war.
3 economic depressions. A massive pandemic.
A massive pandemic that could allegedly have been caused by accident by our own research labs. Allegedly, right? And to top it all off, now we have to choose between 2 senile old bats for president. Well, that's the one of the big issues is that our leadership worldwide, our leadership is not the correct leadership to deal with this issue. It's not even just the United States. It's everybody.
Let's just say it's not the right age demographic to be leading us into this new uncharted territory.
Not one presidential candidate, including third party, is under 70 years old.
Yeah.
Right? Because RFK Jr.,
yep.
What's her face? Jill Stein, obviously the 2 major candidates, Cornel West. Well, we're on the precipice of World War III.
Yeah, continually.
Did you see the Putin interview with Tucker Carlson?
No, I didn't. No, I heard about it. It's
2 hours long, and I watched it. And I watched the Oliver Stone interview years ago with Putin, and I watched the interview that he did during the Trump administration. And I am not a supporter of Russia here, guys, but listening to him talk and watching him do interviews makes me wish that we had somebody as competent as him leading the country, because it's pathetic how he is a smart guy. Like, I'm not saying he's a good guy, but he is definitely sharp. He's on it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he could run circles around the last several presidents that we've had. It's shocking how incompetent our leadership is and has been.
Yep.
And like I say, we're on the edge of World War III right now. Iran bombed a U.S. military base.
Yeah.
Oh, we're almost there. There's countries in Europe that are talking about installing the draft again, getting ready.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like European Union countries. It's not good.
Yeah, it's not so. Things are very... So to bring this back to our topic, Mike, I'm going to stay with your thread here, though. What do you think? So let's say it's 2030 or whatever it is, right? The guy said.
Sure.
And 80% of jobs are replaced by AI. Everybody's got more time. And let's just say we're going optimist with this. Everybody's got time. They got time to write that novel they always wanted to write, that memoir. They have time to sift through old family photos and digitize them. They have, whatever it is they want to do, right? They can finally put up that fence in the backyard or buy a new grill and spend more time grilling or learn how to use a smoker, whatever they want to do. What impact does that have globally for wars and major disagreements? Because I can see people like racist people that hyper focus on these things. I can see that being a very bad thing, that they're able to have a lot more time to do that and to try and rile people up. But if you have AI that says they're crackpots, maybe the rest of the people that are used to watching news in the morning and then before bed and then over lunch and get the same 3 stories repeated to them ad nauseum might just say, well, we can ignore them. So I'd be curious on what you think that might do for kind of global...
There's a real possibility
conflicts.
that we are heading towards the RoboCop, Judge Dredd, massive level civil unrest globally type situation, which we have already seen massive civil unrest in this country and in other countries. And a lot of the reason why it doesn't spread is that the media tries to limit our access to the information about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it could lead to massive political upheaval. That's a good thing, potentially, based on the conversation we just had about global leadership and how incompetent they seemingly are.
Yeah.
And
if you go back to our country's roots, where our founding fathers said a little revolution every once in a while is a good thing. So, it's change. And a lot of corporations love to say, embrace the change, but they only mean embrace the change if it's change that they're initiating, not if it's being initiated elsewhere. So
What is it? The tree of liberty is watered with the blood of patriots or whatever, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Change is good, but it's always an adjustment period. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. I know that, I've only got maybe, I don't know, 2.5 inches left of this cigar. And I know I want to talk about some of the creative things that AI allegedly does.
Yes.
And I think you did too, didn't you, Mike?
I will lead up to this. So our government is currently trying to enact legislation to deal with AI. And instead of being like, oh, let's just make it universal education a thing, or, oh, let's just make universal healthcare a thing, or, let's get in front of this problem and start doing more public housing and dealing with the homeless problem and create infrastructure so that we can deal with 80% of the people changing jobs in the next 20 years or 10 years.
Yeah, and I think to clarify really quick, Mike, when the government says let's deal with the AI problem, that doesn't mean AI is a problem to the everyday person.
No.
That means the AI is a problem to our politicians' pocketbooks.
That is correct. So instead of doing any policies that are forward thinking and could help us in the long term to make us maybe a more progressive, not in like the traditional political way that we use now, but a more forward thinking, forward moving society to deal with these rapid changes that are happening. The government wants to ban pornography being generated by AI. That's just last week, both the president and Congress were in discussions about passing laws to ban AI from generating pornography.
Yeah. And when Mike says last week, listeners, he means early February.
I mean early February of 2024. We are recording this early.
Yes. Because we're going to get ahead of things for once, gosh darn it.
Yeah, for once. We're ahead. That leads us into what you wanted to talk about.
Yes. And we're actually recording this on the eve, the night of the... Now, I don't know who Taylor Swift is, and I've never watched the Super Bowl, but he sure sounds fast.
I just learned today who was in the Super Bowl because they had an ad on my TV for it.
Yeah. So Sarah, the night before the Super Bowl, she was watching this Amazon Prime movie called Kelsey or something. It was about the Kelsey brothers. They were playing on opposite teams last Super Bowl. And so their mom was like the star of the night because she had 2 Super Bowl contender sons, right? But one of the Kelseys is, and I don't like, we'll be watching a movie and Sarah will be like, oh yeah, this is the one that's dating so-and-so. And I'm like, who the fuck are you talking about? Like, I don't know any of these actors' names. And I'm a film guy, but I'm not saying like I don't know any actors' names. I'm just saying, like there's being a film person who likes film, and this isn't a slight at my wife because she loves film too, and this isn't a slight at you, not you, Mike, but you, the listener. If you just like the, the relationship drama around celebrities, right? That's fine. I don't have anything against that. I'm not into that, so I get very confused when my wife starts talking about who's dating which other actor, actress, that kind of thing. I don't know, and I really don't have the brain space to focus on that. But anyway, one of these sports ball players in the Super Bowl tonight, of course, this is early February for the rest of you, is dating Taylor Swift. And Taylor Swift recently, last month, right, had all of these AI-generated nudes. I'm going to say leaked, but it wasn't really leaked because it's not like they were nudes that she took that were then hacked from her personal device and leaked onto the internet. These are just AI-generated images that were disseminated on the internet. Okay, and Mike was not able to view them. I was able to view them. And if you've seen an AI image, one of the commercials, Super Bowl commercials, was those people that had that really out of touch Jesus is one of us commercials last year, maybe at the Super Bowl. And they had one this year that had a whole bunch of like these images and stuff of people washing other people's feet. And they all looked AI generated because they all looked like, I don't know, Renaissance paintings almost, but photoreal Renaissance paintings. If that makes sense. Like, you know how how AI can look in a certain sense, like it'll generate these images, but it looks almost too good to actually be a real image. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a term for that. It looks a little
cartoony or a little like painty or whatever. And so I'm like, man, I'll bet you they just AI'd this whole thing. But their message was, Jesus didn't teach us to preach hate. Jesus washed feet. And I was like, oh my God, you guys, like now you got all the foot fetish people Googling Jesus. Like, the fuck are you doing? And that's where maybe a human would need to reprogram their AI and say, maybe don't lead with Jesus washes feet. You got to put that in context. I remember a sermon when I was a kid and our pastor got down and was washing people's feet in the front row, but he like prefaced it without being goofy and weird about it and like awkward about it. But anyway, so those kind of like, it's not really cartoony, but it's kind of like CGI-y. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell that it's not really a picture. So you could probably recreate this in a photo studio with, I don't know, 1,000 lights and perfect staging and somebody who knew exactly how to create like the most kind of fakey looking picture that was still real, but you would just look at it and be like, this is too staged. So that's how Taylor Swift here
because we are not active social media users. But from what I understand, there's a lot of filters and editing that goes into people's photos they put on social media. And I think a lot of people are already accustomed to that. A lot of people are used to that.
Oh, I think they're used to that. I saw something where
Uncanny
I think it was
Valley.
Texas banned. Yes, Uncanny Valley. That's exactly right. I think Texas recently passed a law banning filters on dating apps, maybe, or something.
That's so stupid.
There's a really good...
What a waste of government resources.
Man, dude...
What a waste of time. Why don't we deal with the problems that we actually have?
I'm just going to play devil's advocate here, Mike. I agree with you 100%. Like, the fuck. But let's play devil's advocate, right? You're somebody trying to find a date. They got these pictures. And this is true even before filters, right? Because if you're on a dating app, same with resumes. You're only going to put the good things down. Same with references. You're not going to put down your mortal enemy, the boss you fucked over. You're not going to put him down as a reference. Like, yeah, I stole from my last job. Why don't you call them and ask them about me? So there's always that kind of like personal editing that goes on with dating, with career searching, with all of this stuff. But let's just say for a moment, since catfishing and stuff has gotten huge and there's a lot of people, FBI and otherwise, posing as certain things online to expose other people online. And some of those things are justified and some of them aren't. But, let's say you've got all these pictures of this person that are filtered and AI generated and stuff. And you're like, wow, this, and let's assume also you're shallow and only look at the outer beauty and not the inner beauty, not to get all philosophical and whatnot here. On one hand, you would think, why not just have these people meet these people and find out that they're phony and using fake images and have like the platform that they're using, and that person can just flag them and say, this isn't how they look. And the platform can do that research and ban that person or whatever. Like that would be the ideal. But on the other hand, if the company's not going to do it, the government should be forcing the company to do that instead of enacting laws to punish citizens. Because all of these things you're not mandated by government law to sign up for Facebook. So you can use whatever pictures you want on Facebook, but you're government mandated if you're a man to sign up for the draft. That's illegal, but right now, so if the government mandated that you had a Facebook, then I could see the government mandating that your Facebook pictures are you and not filtered, just for a super simple example. But anyway, back to the Taylor Swift nudes. They're very Uncanny Valley and they're very fakey. And I don't really get what the attraction is with Taylor Swift anyway. Whatever it is. But the whole thing is that the Pentagon, or is it the Pentagon, or I don't know, government is now like trying to do all this stuff because Taylor Swift got upset about these pictures. And I don't know that she actually got upset. Right, Mike? Because you said she didn't really respond to him, but her fans got upset.
Yeah. The article I read was that Taylor Swift and her quote-unquote team did not acknowledge it. They were asked about it, and they said nothing. They were like, this is not an issue that we're interested in dealing with, right? It's not my problem, basically, which is the right response. Like, I'll give her respect for that. That is the right answer from her.
Yeah, I feel like she's done a good job of navigating the legal and creative pitfalls of being a musician because she's re-recording all of her old stuff, so she gets the royalties and stuff. She got screwed over by the record company, I guess. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I think she's done. I don't. Yeah, but she's done a good job of navigating some of these very interesting things that come about, especially now with AI. But you're a public figure. And I don't know, let's say back in college and stuff, my dorm mate, totally not me, would look up or would see things and it would be, like this is totally this super hot actress naked. And it was totally not, right? They found somebody that maybe had a similar body build and then they would Photoshop the face on or they'd, do whatever.
I remember the Britney Spears fakes back in the day. And it was like, kind of maybe it looked like her in the dark. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, back then, like the photo resolution you could download on your computer was crap. So you could take a picture of like a Thanksgiving turkey and say, hey, this is Rosie O'Donnell or something, naked. And you'd be like, oh, yeah, that's great. I love it. I don't know. I'm not trying to make anyone upset who's a Rosie O'Donnell fan if they still exist anymore. But the point is that you can let's just go Star Wars because we like Star Wars. There's Star Wars porn parodies, and they're not getting sued out the ass.
No, and AI will certainly make an AI movie based on Star Wars. Like that's if it's not already there, it will be, and it'll be photorealistic.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of videos of Arnold Schwarzenegger being voice copied into famous movie scenes where he's singing.
Oh, like, yeah.
The Hills Are Alive and everything, and the face looks really bad, but the voice sounds perfect. Like it's him singing The Hills Are Alive because there's so much of his voice out there that they can generate it. You know, any of these people. There's Joe Rogan there's an AI Joe Rogan podcast between him and other guests, and it's AI generated conversation.
And I'm sure if we ever get popular, then there'll be AI voices of us out there too.
Right. Like they're totally made up conversations.
Well, I can't imagine AI us saying anything worse than we say regularly on our podcast. So I'm not too concerned about it. But I did do some legal lookup. And so a lot of the legal stuff online is basically saying for porn purposes, as long as you're not claiming to actually be the person, right? So the porn Britney Spears was Britney Speared was their porn name. So it wasn't Britney Spears, but you knew who they were trying to be like, right? So you could just...
Yeah, or it was Britney Spears with 3 S's.
Yeah, something super dumb. And so I found an article here. This is another... this is a podcast episode, and podcast is Endless Thread, and it is co-hosted by Amory Severson and Ben Brock Johnson. But basically, they're saying that since the creation of deepfakes in 2017, AI technology that can face swap has become very commonplace, especially in pornography. But there's no federal law that criminalizes the creation or sharing of non-consensual deepfake porn in the United States, at least at the time that this was written, June 2023. So there's really no law against it right now. And they said that really the only thing is kind of like it can have damaging emotional and physical effects for the person being deepfaked, right? But it's not necessarily illegal to do. And it's kind of the same thing with lookalikes, right? And the big thing is when a lot of the Britney Spears stuff came out, she was underage. She was under 18. And but the thing was, they weren't claiming to be Britney Spears. Their names were Britney Speared or Britney Spear XXXXX or whatever it was, right? So they weren't saying, hey, I literally am Britney Spears. They're just like, I'm somebody who looks like Britney Spears who's about to get naked for you. So have fun. So I think that's kind of the thing. And nobody's going to look at these. And I don't think anybody said when these Taylor Swift things popped out that they were like, oh, look, Taylor Swift was having a gangbang with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they were just like, look at what AI thinks Taylor Swift looks like naked. Like, I don't think it was presented in that way. I don't know for sure because I wasn't on the cutting edge of that because I literally don't care. But
yeah, it's not something that I'm an expert in or even slightly knowledgeable.
No, and we're not lawyers. But people were saying that was tantamount to physical abuse, sexual abuse, releasing deepfakes of somebody. That's popular in the popular sphere.
We are so soft as a society, and we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
We're so soft as a society that stuff like this, these crazy things that people say are just accepted. And it's like, the world's a really hard place sometimes. This is not really an issue that anybody should care about.
Yeah.
Or at least not as much as people do. For sure.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we can think about this. Let's think about this in a couple different ways. Or one other way. I only have one. A couple different ways, as long as a couple to you means one, Mike. Like bullying, right? Like I was bullied, or I had people say bad things about me in school, right? I had people make fun of my diabetes in school. And morally, is that right for those people to do that to me? No. Do I have anything I could really do as a 12-year-old child? Also, no. And schools typically don't care about the bully. They care about the person who's being bullied when they fight back. And then the person who fought back is bad, because they didn't follow the appropriate channels of the school, blah, blah, blah. So is it morally right to create AI deepfakes of Taylor Swift naked and then distribute them on the internet? No. No. There's plenty of people who want to be naked and want you to see them naked on the internet. There's no reason, right? I'm not trying to get into the morality of porn or not or whatever. Like whatever it is. I'm just saying, is it morally right for somebody to, let's just take you, Mike, to say, I'm going to have AI make some naked Mike pictures that I can enjoy while we're recording our podcast so I can, whatever. Who knows? I'm not doing that, Mike. Just, you can rest easy tonight. but you know what I mean? Like, it's not morally right to do that kind of thing and to share those things. But as somebody in the public eye, as much as Taylor Swift is, there's nothing you can really do because you're a public figure.
No, it's inevitable. I guarantee you there's going to be a Johnny Depp porn, AI porn. There will be.
Yeah, there has to be.
You know, it's Rule 34,
missing
right?
fingertip and all.
Yeah, if you can think of it, it's out there.
Yeah, and Disney owns as much porn as they do own film because they legally own all the derivative Rule 34 stuff. And they have, I read this, that when a new animator comes on board, they will show them at least one folder of like their most recent film and all the porn that people have created from it online and say, just so you know, whatever you're making for us, this is the kind of stuff people will make out of it. Just to, you know, like
prep them.
I'm not saying Disney's great, but just like, hey man, like you're going to have like these crazy sick fucks making crazy sick fuck like Officer Judy Hopps porn for whatever. Right. It's a rabbit. Like it's been
going on forever. AOC has deep fakes.
Yeah,
there's all these people. I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi has deep fakes out there.
That's disgusting. Where? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like
God, everybody has them. That's popular, right?
Right. It's certain. It's inevitable. Just got to accept it and move on, I guess. That's my view on it. You know?
Yeah. We're not pro pornography deepfakes.
No, but I'm pro accepting reality and moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, as long as the technology's there. And if you do anything to put yourself out there, even us with this podcast, right? Like we could get angry mail at some point, somewhere, somehow, right? Somebody could come and say, well, I didn't like your opinion on this or that or the other thing. But we're putting ourselves out there. We are adults and we chose to do this regardless. So we're not trying to be inflammatory and make people upset. And some of the things we say might be upsetting. I don't know. You know, you might not agree with us, and that's fine. You don't have to. I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on things. But that kind of comes back to our... it's kind of been a recurring theme, I think, Mike, is kind of like the polite discord, you know. You can disagree, but you can do it so politely. You don't have to have everybody on your side all the time. And you don't learn if people are telling Kathleen Kennedy that putting a chick in it and making her lame and gay is a good thing. You know, like everybody around her is
I did watch that too, by the way. I watched the Panderverse.
Oh, I did too. It was very funny.
It was great. I watched, now I've watched several of the South Park specials, and I highly recommend them to people. They're a lot more adult than what was on Comedy Central. More graphic, for sure.
Well, and I'll say this real quick since you brought up the Panderverse, is that I thought the ending of Panderverse, where they had a clear path forward to prevent the Panderpocalypse or whatever the fuck it was handled a lot better than the ending of Barbie. Even though I liked Barbie. And I liked Barbie a lot better than a lot of the other things that I've watched. But, you know, I kind of wanted that show us then the utopian state.
Right. I thought it was hilarious that they got all the handymen from other galaxies or whatever.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to fix anything.
Yeah. Panderverse was great. If you haven't seen it, go watch that. Don't be making weird AI deepfakes and posting them online because chances are the government's going to make that illegal and they're going to come for you. They're not going to go for Taylor Swift for generating, 63 tons of CO2 emissions every plane trip. But
yeah, just remember, you can't have plastic straws. But, you know, John Kerry can fly around the world on his private jet.
Yeah. Well, and even the most loved person in all of history, Barack Obama, had like pizza flown in from Chicago to the White House just so he could have lunch and then think about the emissions from that and stuff. But I have to drink out of a soggy straw. Mike doesn't dislike the paper straws as much as I do. I have
I've never had an issue with a paper straw, so
I've had so many issues with paper straws, but I can't say the reason why. So I'll tell Mike afterwards. And
Is it sounding?
It is something that an AI chatbot would not be allowed to say. So anyway, how much of your cigar do you have left, Mike?
I am burning my fingers.
Okay. I'm there too. So what did you think overall of this one?
It was good. No flavor change. Very mellow, I would say. It was dark,
but
mellow.
Yeah, dark but mellow. You know what? I would say the shelf appeal was maybe the best thing about the cigar. The smoke was good. It was a good smoke. I think there would be other things I would rather smoke, especially considering this is a limited run.
Yes, but the shelf appeal. Oh.
Yeah, I know, man. If you have, so I guess I would caveat it with this. I don't think I would buy another one of these, given the price point. But if you want to have a cigar that you can whip out and have everybody be like, oh my God, that looks amazing. What is that? What's going on? And you want to have a really good smoke. Like, it's a good smoke. sure, you have the disposable income, go ahead and do it. But and trying to keep and tie this into Mike's grand vision for season 3, where we smoke budget cigars and say what's the best. Part of that also is smoking some of these limited runs that you might be tempted by and letting you know if it's worth the investment or not. This one could go either way for me. I wouldn't rush out and get it again, but it looks fantastic. I also would not. So
I would not. I would buy it again. I wouldn't rush out to buy it again. But if I saw it on the shelf, it looks so nice, I'd want to put it on the top of the box. It just looks really good. I know that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so vain.
It's silly.
But
but that's part of it too. And you know what? I don't feel like I was cheated out of money on this one. And maybe it looks so good I had higher hopes. And maybe it was my own expectations that got in my own way. It's a good cigar. It's a very good cigar. And the last half inch is as good as the first inch. It's just... yeah. I don't think it's a necessary staple in your humidor cigar. So I'm not advising you, but since it's limited, I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy a box or 2 boxes or 5 boxes of these. Like, don't do that. But if you want a good cigar that looks really interesting and a lot different than other cigars you see out there, sure, pick it up if you got the scratch to do it. Was there anything else on AI that we missed, Mike?
I don't think so. Be prepared, people. Be prepared.
Yeah. Whatever that means for you and your job and livelihood. All right. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, if you have time to give us a review on whatever platform you're catching us on, it would be much, much appreciated. Check out our website and our Patreon. We've got some cool behind the scenes stuff there too. So again, thanks for listening.
Be safe. Have fun.